Hello, Narnach here, welcome back to Grim Dawn. We're playing with a Drain Essence Death Knight on Hardcore Ultimate difficulty. Last episode we find ourselves a new set of mythical Wraithborn leg wraps. In between episodes I added it to the build, decided I liked it and then continued for about 15 or 20 minutes to shift all the components and augments around on my gear in order to fix my resistances. The new bands give bleed resistance, currently 67% overcapped on bleed resistance, so it's kind of redundant. Similarly, vitality resistance, I am 123% overcapped. So yeah, effectively there are no resists on this item, whereas the previous one granted me a boatload of pierce resistance. So I had to shuffle things around quite a bit in order to compensate for that. Net result is we're still capped and overcapped on all the resists, but the balance is a little more strained, so to say. I'm a little less overcapped on some things than I was before. Main upside, we gained a lot of health. We went from 14,600 to over 15,000, so it's nearly 500 extra points of health. Offensive and defensive ability both gain about 50 points, so it's easier to hit and crit things and it's more difficult for enemies to do the same. The new pants have a little bit more armor, so again for resisting physical damage that is going to be a little bit more helpful. We now have +3 to Spectral Wrath,
It's safe with me.
which does a lot of helpful things. When it procs, there's a lot of vitality and ether damage that gets applied. Enemies' attack speed is reduced and the physical vitality and ether resistance is reduced, and that does keep on scaling with more points. So we now have 3% more vitality and ether resistance reduction applied to enemies that hit us. Mostly helpful against enemies that are heavily resistant to those things. Enemies that are not resistant, it's just a small damage bonus. But against bosses it is going to be very helpful. We lost some points into Siphon Souls and into Blood Boil, 2 points into each. So Siphon Souls, little smaller explosion, Blood Boil, a little less reduction in offensive ability, as well as damage over time that gets applied. And in terms of procs, we used to have a 25% chance to cast a low level Siphon Souls when hit. 1300 vitality damage, 10% leached to health, so that's 137 health per enemy hit, and then probably, no, it still takes resistances into account, so in practice it would be less. It was for free, so it was helpful, but I don't think it was something that was actively keeping me alive. All the other things were much stronger in that regard. So the new pants, they have an Ether Blast Wave, 30% chance when I get hit, so the hit chance is slightly higher. 3-second recharge versus a 5-second recharge, so it will trigger much more often. 4.8 meter radius compared to a 4 meter radius, so the radius that it explodes in is also larger, and it does 5.5 to 8,000 points of ether damage and a 2-second knockdown to all targets that could be knocked down. So the damage is 4 to 6 times higher, something in that order of magnitude. It triggers almost twice as often and it has a larger radius. Yes, there's no leech, but it has knockdown, so enemies that are flat on their back, they're not attacking me. So that means I can just drain their life out without them retaliating. So I think in terms of safety, Ether Blast Wave is actually stronger than the Siphon Souls. So all in all, I think it was definitely worth shuffling all my gear around in order to make this work.
Safe storage. No questions
So we'll
asked.
stash that one in here,
I'll keep an eye
and
on
then let's continue on with where we left off. Last time we walked into Barrowholm. So this time we actually walk into the city rather than stopping at the waypoint and have a chat with the lovely little folks in this totally not creepy, happily, brightly lit town in the middle of a creepy swamp. As we know from previous times we got here, hello, we will remain friendly.
All right then, if you
So You got something I want. I need to do something you want, and that is help your friends. Scope said I should help. What do you need? I'll get it done. Restore the wards. I think we can do that. I'll rescue some people. And then off we go. So Barrowholm is the one faction I'm not yet revered with, but of course it's also the last faction we encounter, so there's a balance in there. We only need less than 4,000 reputation, so I think doing the quests, as well as maybe killing some Custodians, should sort that out. You have Bloodlust. So it's definitely going to be time to play some bowling. Look at that, they're just flying away. Courtesy of our new pants. And there we go. So I think by itself it might look like it's because it only does damage and it does the knockdown. Might think like, yeah, but there's no leech on there. If you think about it a little bit more, I think the knockdown is gonna be very valuable here. And from the looks of it, it is. And it's just fun seeing enemies just fly around. Another bonus effect of that is, of course, if enemies survive the blast, I mean, they're not always going to, but if they do survive the blast. Okay, that's further south. Wait. If they survive the blast, then, and no, as usual, you will have affected them with Drain Essence. Hello. Then they're gonna be degenning like mad. And they'll have to walk back to you. And chances are, most regular mobs, they will die because of the Drain Essence degen before they get back to you. So they will be unable to deal damage, and there's a good chance they'll die. I'd say that's a win-win situation. And one of the nice side effects is, of course, that my armor went up a little bit. Chest armor, I still got the mythical cloth of unspeakable invocation. It is very good for Drain Essence and decomposition. And the energy regen is pretty solid. But in terms of armor, it is just over 1,000, whereas these have 1,500. My body armor is definitely a weak spot, as well as my arms. But mythical warped grasps, I think I'll have to stick with these because the vitality damage bonus to Drain Essence is just so good, as well as the drain bonus. So there's lots of enemies and there's lots of debuff effect going on the enemies. So I really do got to be careful that I'm not accidentally walking into an arcane hero without realizing. Also, you are a Bloodsinger. You heal people, which is kind of annoying in combination with this Wendigo, since it has a large enough health pool that I can't kill it in just 1 second flat. So I think for this episode we'll just kill all of the, or do all of the quests here. Including heading into the mine, killing all the things. There's a hero here. You are a defender. You are a reflective, both I don't really care too much about. You know what, I'll just rip your spirit out. That sounds like a lovely idea. Yeah, see, some of the enemies, they are not that solid on their feet and they do get knocked down quite a bit. Oh wait, stop degenning me, you monsters. I mean, it's all fun and games when I do it, but when the enemy does it, ooh, then it's evil. Then they're foul. Double standards. You gotta maintain them, right? Someone has to. Okay, into the mine entrance we go. So funny enough, it's never really about the boss here. It is always about the little things. Okay, let's just drink some energy. Ooh, and we got stuff. We got ourselves a blueprint and we got ourselves a purple. Mythical Flamekeeper's jacket. That's a level 94 body armor. Set for the Demolitionist Inquisitor. So now we can craft that one. And we got a Mark of Ulzuin. Also in the Fire God. If I remember correctly, it's the Demolitionist likes it. Maximum resistance to cold. I guess that's for a fiery person, that helps. Bonuses to Albrecht's Ether Ray and Granado. So that's Arcanist. And, excuse me, and Demolitionist. So we'll just tuck that away somewhere for later safekeeping. And then slowly move onwards. Hello. A basilisk. Oh, look, there's something in here. Okay, I don't think I like all this poison very much. Rotmouth. You are void touched, that's another one. So I saw Rotmouth, I didn't see the void touched. Well, it's gone now, so it's no longer an issue. But it's a good showcase that some of the enemies, they're sneaky. And if they're arcane, they will get you murdered. Mythical Rifthound leg wraps, that is a regular standard thing. We'll just we'll vendor that one. Overgrowth. Lots of plants, never really a big fan of the plants, they hurt a lot. Coniferous plants, you actually try to eat me. It feels like there's more crabs and pit creepers, those are the ones that need to be murdered. Than usual. You know what, we'll stick to the right hand side on the way up and then we'll stick to the left hand side on the way down, and that way we should end up killing all the pit creepers. And thereby satisfying the conditions of the quest that we will get after completing the first wave of quests. Nice little bottleneck here. Enemies are not really gonna do all that much to me if they can't creep up all at the same time. I do find myself drinking quite some energy potions here. Then again, I do find a decent number of them, so you gotta use them. And if you end up using them just about as fast as you find them, you're good. Otherwise, you might have to buy stuff at the vendor. Not the end of the world, but a little bit inconvenient. Okay. So if you guys get a little closer, yes, exactly. At least I can just tag all of you. Oh, treasure trove, I like those. They usually contain something fun. I wasn't kidding, there's another blueprint in here. As well as a purple item. Blueprint for Mythical Shard of Command. That's an amulet. Epic amulet. It grants +2 to Undead Legion, so that is more skeletons, and then Emberclaw and Lightning Strike. I guess that's okay. Not relevant for our build, of course, but the more blueprints you have, the more options that it gives you. And every once in a while I go back to the blacksmith and I just have a look and see exactly what's available, because it's really easy to miss things. Or to see, what is or is not relevant for the build. Hidden spoils. I don't think I always go here. I sometimes just forget it's there. And wasn't there an odd thing? No, not here. There was a place with some odd things, with some breakable stones that didn't go anywhere. Mythical Alchemist's Mantle, Vile Eruption and Merciless Repertoire. Not quite my skill set. Okay. There is a corrupted crab in here. We'll rip your spirit out. Just overguard, since it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on. I'll get out of the blue stuff here, thank you very much. Shout at you a little. And rip your spirit out once more. And look at that, no more crab. We got Mythical Silver Sentinel's armor, which is more armor than we currently have, but the bonuses are not quite helpful, and there's no energy on here, so I'll just politely decline and we'll move on. Getting ever closer to the big one, the boss crab. Also, every kill gets us closer to level 100. At which point, of course, we're no longer be leveling, and the only way to progress will be by finding or improving gear. Actually can't, yeah, you can improve gear with augments, of course, that's the way to do it. Augments and components. But the gear itself is just written in stone. But no, while upgrades are... Okay, you are 9 levels above me. I think I'll just take a small step aside. Let's just not stand in the green stuff here. Just overguard a little bit, drink an energy potion, do some reflecting back at you. Again, let's get out of the green stuff. Okay, this one, it hurts quite a bit. Just gotta not stand in there. The war cry definitely helps quite a bit. War cry, get out. Rip your spirit out, overguard, reflect back at you, take a step back here. And it looks like we're in the last steps of the dance. Definitely should not get overly courageous. No, just keep dancing, keep stepping back, get out of stuff. Eventually the crab is gonna die and you will be victorious. And for our troubles, Mythical Beacon of Winter's Veil. 15% chance on attack to cast Winter's Veil. 1 second recharge, that sounds compatible with what we're doing. 100% chance to pierce, 0.3 meter radius, main hand damage, cold damage, chance to slow. So that's orbs of jagged ice. Swirl around you in a freezing whirlwind. So that is very, very close to you. It doesn't actually have a duration, so it's more of a one-time thing. And of course everything else in here is frost themed, so it is pretty cool. Not very all that relevant. Ooh, minus 10% cold resistance to Alexra's Flash Freeze. Now that is interesting. Because that's the Arcanist skill that freezes the entire screen, mostly. But if it makes enemies vulnerable to cold, then in a cold based build that is a nice synergy. Okay, I like it. I'm gonna put it in the box. So, that way I won't forget about it. Ding dong, the crab is dead. That means we can walk back. Clear out the remainder of the pit creepers. We cleared most of the place already. Oh, there's a bit of a spawn camp behind us here. You are Icecorn and you are Vileclaw. Okay. Good to make your acquaintance, I suppose. Okay, they're stunning me a little, or freezing me a little. Not a big fan. Just overguard here, just as a precautionary thing. Make sure Warcry remains up. It does reduce their damage by 25%. But in the end, they went down. Pretty cool, pretty quickly. Built like this, we use our Drain Essence to actively tank things. If we get stunned, if we get frozen, petrified, whatever form of crowd control applies. That means, of course, our active sustain capacity is reduced instantly. So having multiple layers of defenses stacked on top of each other, very helpful here. So those things that proc when you are incapacitated, kind of helpful. So that is why I'm very happy with the Void Walkers. It is why I'm very happy with, well, actually things like even like Spectral Wrath. No, it is a damage retaliation when you get hit. It does help to whittle down the weak enemies, and at the same time it also helps you deal more damage against the stronger enemies. But the thing is, you don't have to be actively casting it, so that makes it great. On the soldier side, of course, panic skills like the Menhir's Will. No, if your health goes below a threshold, it heals you. Very, very helpful. Counter-Strike, well, it used to be a lot stronger. The percentage weapon damage, I think it started higher. Now it scales, so you actually need to invest points into the skill to make it good. But still, as a one pointer, you get an aura that you can attach a proc to. And a stone form proc, 15% chance on block, grants us damage absorption for a nice duration. So that is very helpful. Similarly, field command, it's now passively just increasing all your defenses, but tip the scales, 20% chance when you get hit, 1.5 second recharge. It is a life leech, pretty strong life and energy shield leech, which should trigger even if you are incapacitated. So it's one of those things that, once again, just helps you stay alive. Giant's Blood, another very important one. 15% chance when you get hit, but when it does proc, you get healed quite a bit instantly, and then for 10 seconds you have a lot of health regen, helping you stay full on health. And what do we have here? Turtle Shell, 40% health, you get a damage absorption shield, and of course the skill itself is good as well. So in the Spined Cove, the lovely little cave that's basically every time before I start recording I go to. Now in the Arcovian foothills, with the cave with all the ghosts. There is a blue ghost in there. And actually in order to test out just how helpful the new pants were, that's basically why I did it. I just parked myself next to the boss and I just stood there. No, hands off the keyboard, and I just stood there. And on one hand, it was just a matter to see if, without the old life leech from the Soul Siphon, if I could survive. Turns out, though, that the life leech wasn't that significant. And also, just to see how impactful the damage of this one was. But turns out, I just parked myself next to the blue boss and just stood there, waiting. And my health, it bounced up and down a little bit in about the top 1/3 of my life. That's where it's hovered, and depending on the things that triggered and their cooldown cycles, I had more or less life at different times, but I never went below half my life. And eventually the boss killed himself without me having to do anything. So there's enough passive damage in here that I can just take out the named bosses in minor challenge areas. Rot Spew. Of course, the Ashes of Malmouth content much more difficult than regular content, especially that early on in the game. I mean, it's only Act 2. Things are relatively tame back there. But I was happy to see that at least it was possible to have enemies just kill themselves. Even with a build that is not actively trying to be a retaliation build, it does have some of the playstyle inherited, which is nice. So all of that is to say, no active defense or active sustain in the form of drain or of life leech. You do need to have a couple of backup strategies if you want to survive. You look like you're on fire. Emberclaw. there's a lot of enemies here. Let's just overguard as a preemptory thing. And it looks like I managed to reduce the population down to just the boss guy. Or gal, not quite sure. Ulda. Ulda is more of a feminine name, isn't it? Ends in an A. That's usually, not always, but usually that's a hint that it's a female name. So cue all the angry comments below, of course. With all the guys called Ulda just writing in, "Are you calling me feminine?" Not saying that, just saying that most of the time names ending in an A. At least out here in the West. Seems to be a pattern with names. Hello there, Maureen. I'll send you back. No, but also there's hardly any angry comments on the channel, which is something I'm very happy with. We've got a nice set of just really classy people here. And if you're not acting classy, then no, it's very easy to shadow ban those people. And then the unclassy comments will never show up. It's a very nice way to just keep the place very friendly and clean. So I think we gotta fix some wards still. Because we did save all the people. And then we had to dip down and then dip back up. Barrowholm quest always involves a lot of walking. But then you can hand in multiple of them. And then we gotta go back to the friendly witch. I already got all the collectible items, I think. How are we doing here? 1, 2, we still need a third one, don't we? Oh no, wait, I always think there's a third one, but then it turns out it was actually just one of the regular Octenblooms, I think. I know I always trip up on that, thinking I need more than I actually need. Reactivate the wards. Oh, a strongbox all by itself. Totally not a trap, is it? Well, not really a trap if it's only just one single white wraith. And then the last of the wards up here. And more crabs.
I can't do that yet.
Oh, speaking of enemies, my thoughts went to Nemesis enemies. Oh, because beasties, and we have a beast nemesis that still has to die. Turns out that pre-expansion and post-expansion nemesis bosses basically are two separate things. So the old nemesis bosses, of, for example, of the undead, Moziluk, whatever you want to call them, it's only going to spawn in the old content, not in the new content. So even if there's a tomb in the expansion that has undead in it, no Moziluk for us. Instead, you gotta go back to the old content and haunt places like the Steps of Torment or the old Arcovia underneath the Broken Hills, or no, we got a Necropolis, City of the Dead. Good chance of finding enemies there. And that's basically gonna be that way for all the Nemesis things. So the city thing is, it takes quite some effort to get Nemesis status with things. Now that I've reached expansion content, the beasts are a faction that actually didn't get added until the expansion. So that's why their boss is here. But the undead, of course, are an old faction. And all their one nemesis is in the old content. So once we do the Steps of Torment, that is probably where we're gonna end up finding him. The Ethereals and the Vanguards, that basically old content, new content. And the Chthonians actually have 2 different nemesis, one for the old and one for the new content. And they of course only spawn in the void areas, so the external realms, or something like the Blood Grove, which is very closely linked to it. Kaima's Chosen. I think they have a couple of places that Kaima's Chosen like to haunt. And same thing for Cronley's gang. It's mostly Act 2 cowboy areas where you will find them. So chances of running into a random nemesis, a lot smaller than I had anticipated. So we got some Barrowholm reputation. And then some more Barrowholm rep. I've already dealt with your pests, wonderful. So that is multiple quests completed, and now all we need is 2300 rep. And we can have a chat. Have a chat. Anything else? What's the problem? I will deal with Laria. So we will get some the fetish. So the Laria, the Hexer quest. There's 2 ways of dealing with it. You kill her or you set her free. Just thinking out loud. Somewhere down there, wasn't it? We'll have a look. Might be a longer episode than usual. Also, usually I record on a dual screen setup, but the power supply of my main screen actually died on me. So I'm waiting for a new power supply to be delivered. It should arrive somewhere today. But of course that's not really going to help me while recording, but this way I can't just conveniently glance over at the other screen to see just how far we are into the recording. So if it's longer or shorter than usual, well, blame the screen. And this is a unique plant. Ow, 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 I'm on fire. Ow, ow, ow. Okay, something, void touched, something. Okay, let's just overguard here. There's a lot of extra damage coming in. I think I'd just like more energy. Take a small step backwards here. Shout at everybody a little. It's only 7 levels above me. Only. And there we go. Everything is gone. Yeah, the other day someone asked me, how are you picking up those items so quickly? Well, turns out in the key bindings there is a button for not for drop item, but for picking up. So if you bind the item, bind the key for pickup, then you can just hover over something and then hit the button really quickly and then pick up items. Question is, maybe I should be there. This is the tomb of the Wraith, and this is maybe where Laria is. I could have gone into the wrong direction. It always catches me a little bit off guard exactly where things are. So let's try this again. Also, I probably should just pay attention to, yeah, minimap. And indeed, we're going into the right direction. Level 99. Almost there. Okay, goodbye plants. So for the Laria quest, we can kill her or we can make her disappear, but after that the Barrowholm folks will kill her anyway. Really just evil people. Really evil, bad people. But for our role in that, we can, if we kill her ourselves, she's going to be a farmable boss. but it will incur a little bit of a penalty with the lovely folks over at Coven's Refuge. But we still have to hand in a quest with the Uktenbok fetish. We're already capped with the lovely folks at the Coven. So if we kill Laria first, we get a small penalty, then we hand in the quest and we're gonna go back to Revert, and it's almost as if nothing ever happened. Which seems like a good choice, and I think most of the time I just end up freeing her, so guess what? I might as well just do it differently this time.
I don't know who you are.
Scorch sends his
but
regards.
please-
Goodbye. She's level 106, that makes her 7 levels above me. And I'm just gonna go all out. Don't think I've done this fight all that often. Okay, see, I'm losing a lot of energy here. Thing is, her damage output is puny, seems puny. Yeah, I think my capacity for drinking energy flasks is probably going to be tested more than my capacity to tank damage. Okay, I can drink a flask again. There's some ether stuff flying around, but yeah. Okay, now there's a little bit of damage coming in, but not all that scary. And we lost some rep with the Coven. Mythical Combustion Band. Mythical Pedalis Wheel. Pedalis Wheel is a Necromancer offhand, which is pretty cool. +1 to all Necro skills, bonus to Soul Harvest, Vitality Damage and Decay bonus, Health Offensive ability, strong energy regen, and a small pet bonus. And Mythical Combustion Band. As you'd expect, all kinds of fiery skills get buffed, and there is combustion on attack, reducing physical and fire resistance. Well, so Scorf sends his regards. Anything here we can loot? Seems like a place where we might expect a corpse or a box or something lootable. But I guess not. Okay. Let's go back to the Barrowholm. Send our regards to Scorf. And then go back and hand in the quest. I think this is where we can choose Ravager. Still gotta figure out how we can actually face the Ravager. Or maybe we should first get max rep with the Ravager, with Barrowholm, or maybe do something else. Or maybe we should actually be hostile to the faction.
Dealt with that pest yet?
She will never trouble anyone again.
Good, very good.
We got some Barrowholm rep for that.
Pleased by your-
Tell me more, tell me more. Oh, we need to gather...
The eve of Ravagers
Oh yeah,
return.
gather the hearts of the 3 golem things. Yeah, golem things. Very, very specific, I know. So 2 of them are in the swamp, 1 of them is in the Uktenbok. No, not the Uktenbok, in the Gloombolt, yes.
You've returned.
Gradia.
Chose to negotiate with the thieves.
Look,
That is your business.
Stoneform is now level 12 and we
All
are
that
once again
matters is that
revered.
the fetish is now
What's
forgot.
next? How would this help me?
That is a tape.
Because this is the best we've got.
Now
We
that
got
you
more
have
quests.
ever since the yes.
Oh,
Perfect. You
on.
continue to be a service deep beneath Ugdenbog.
kill Silvaria. So the bile items, they were enough. And Uktenblooms, and we got, oh yeah, we got Ogrim's frying pan. Now with rune sigils on it. Very happy, very helpful. Slay Silvaria, yeah, still can't talk with the matron. Okay, let me just quickly have a look. How far in are we? 40 minutes. Okay, that's quite something, right? We got some hearts to gather, we got a Zovaria to kill. Then of course we gotta go forward. You know what? Let's actually call this an episode for now. In the next episode we can just wrap up all the quests in the swamp here. So for now, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching. And I hope to see you again next episode. Bye bye.